Right out of high school, my first job, right out of high school, was Department of Insurance. It has like a temp position. Of course, my mom, worked there, so she kind of helped. But anyway, I was sitting at my desk there doing whatever it was. I don't even remember what the job really entailed. Something to do with database, data entry, that kind of thing. Small time stuff. But it was my first job out of high school. It was for a state agency, so it's kind of cool, I'm sitting there at my desk, and Mom got my attention to come to her office. I went to her office. She had on her computer, a news report about a plane hitting a tower in New York. They believed it to be a small Cessna plane had collided with a tower, a skyscraper in New York. And of course there were pictures, they were just getting pictures in of the accident site where this small Cessna or whatever had collided with one of the big, World Trade Center towers. The damage was pretty substantial. I mean, the pictures at first, it was hard to believe it was a Cessna, but that's all the information they had, of course. So I'm like, wow, man, that's wild. Let's talk to her about it for a little bit. And I went back to my desk, and of course I'm pulling up the the news feed now just to kind of see, what's more information. They had the TV on in the break room, and everybody was kind of gathering around in the break room because apparently, it was getting a lot of publicity. It was starting to become like big news, because shortly after, I guess a lot of reporters arrived on site, and the authorities started getting there. They realized that it was not in fact a Cessna, it was an airliner that had collided with one of the towers. We're all watching this on the break room TV. The little TV is a real small TV, is up in the corner. It's like a break room TV, your typical break room TV in 2001. Not an expensive TV, not a flat screen, we'll put it that way. So we're all watching it, and then I don't even remember what channel it was. I think it was Fox News, and we see another airliner passing across the screen, and I was thinking to myself, didn't they close down airspace over this? I mean, they already had one aircraft accident, and then it was about that time that the airliner itself did not pass behind the skyscrapers. It collided with one, and then we saw the explosion out the other side. The first thing I'm thinking is, are these planes empty? Like, is something wrong with navigation systems? Like, are these accidents? Like, are these pilots just, like, what's going on? Like, I couldn't really wrap my head around what was going on. Like, never crossed my mind that it was intentional at that point. As somebody who's, into aviation, I've always loved aviation ever since my stepdad Larry introduced me to it. So I know a fair amount about how these things work, the different systems, the different navigation systems and things like that. And I'm thinking, what would cause two airliners to hit a bill? You know what I mean? Like, I'm trying to rationalize it in my head. And then, of course, the news reporters start saying, well, this is obviously intentional. And then I'm like, oh, okay, well, that changes everything then. It's not weird, it's intentional. At that point, they went from, the first one was, oh, we can't, engage in speculation. This could have been an accident, especially since it was a Cessna. And then it's an airliner, for sure, right? So that blew my mind. The funny thing about it was, it never dawned on me. And I'm a student of history. Like, I've studied all the big things that have happened in history. I've studied a lot of the little things that have happened. And I'm not talking about just 19th, 20th century history. I mean, I like ancient history as well. And all these things that I know about these turning points in history, or inflection points, or whatever you want to call them, it never dawned on me that I was actually watching one of those in real time. I mean, it was wild, but I didn't realize the significance of it. Not even close. I think all of us are like that, right? We don't know that we're really witnessing history at the time, because we're just witnessing whatever events are unfolding. The significance, historical significance especially, isn't known till later. then, you know, it's pretty crazy, pretty terrible images that are coming out. The video is pretty terrible. And we're watching these people try to get out of the skyscrapers, and we're seeing the fire department guys go into the skyscrapers. Needless to say, everybody there was glued to this tiny little break room TV that we had. This is like, it was a crappy TV. And then as we're watching, they're flashing between different, you know, images. They're trying to get the best images of whatever it is that they're talking about, whatever aspect of the account that they're talking about. Well, in one of the full frame shots of both buildings that are now billowing smoke from two different places on each building, as the talking heads are, you know, they're doing their little speculation thing. You know how these guys talk, right? They fill air, so there's no dead air. They have to find things to say, because in live events, it's not always wham, bam, bam, you know, one thing after another. There's dead air, right? It's live events. It's actually happening. It's real life. So they're doing their blah, blah, blah. Oh, does anybody seen this? Or trying to think of things to ask all these people that they're talking to. Right in the middle of that, I don't even remember what it was they were saying. Filling air. We see the top of one of the buildings. It looks like it drops a little bit, and then there's that cloud, a giant cloud of gray, same color as the building, but it wasn't the building, it was a cloud. And then you see the building coming out of the bottom of that cloud, and it's getting shorter. And of course now we know that was one of the towers. The first tower to fall was collapsing. And all of the talking heads that, at least on the channel that we were watching, I'm pretty sure it was Fox News, stopped. And I remember that, 'cause that was when I realized, like, for some reason, I guess I was so used to watching the news and knowing how these guys do this thing they do, and then for them to allow dead air, I guess that's what clicked in my head, that you know, this is big, like, this is real deal, big stuff. Like, then I kind of started to realize the significance and the importance of what I was witnessing. I don't know, like, you would think that watching a building like that collapse live would be what does it, but I remember specifically thinking, wow, it was like a moment of silence, unintended, right? Unplanned moment of silence. And for some reason, that was like the first time it really hit home of what I was witnessing. It's weird, I know, it's strange, kind of, maybe. I don't know, we like to tie everything up with these neat little bows and say how, you know, virtuous we are, that, oh no, it was the lives that I was witnessing. No, I mean, yeah, I was seeing that, but realistically, what I remember was the fact that the anchors and the reporters allowed dead air. Like, they shut up. Like, the impact was very human, and for once, you were witnessing, like, we were all humans witnessing, real people witnessing that happen. And yeah, that was the first moment, mind you, the first moment where I realized that this is big. And then of course we know, you know, what happened next. Well, the Pentagon was hit. I don't remember when that happened. Of course they were saying there was another plane down in Pennsylvania. All the news reports were tenuous at best. I mean, this is 2001. Yeah, we've got internet and stuff, but there's only so fast that people can get reports, and then they have to make sure those reports are accurate, right? Even today, like, if we actually had journalists today, they would have to do the same thing. Now they just report and say whatever they're told, but whatever, I digress. Everybody around me in the break room, I mean, you know, people gasping and, you know, exclaiming, but on air, it was silent. Yeah, that was what I remember the most. And then of course after that, basically everybody got it half day, right? Everybody kind of just went home, and we all went home to watch TV. Of course, we saw the second tower fall as well. And that was 22 years ago now, today. But that's where I was. I was at work. in the break room. Well, started out working. Didn't get a lot of work done that day, as you can imagine. And I know for a fact that a lot of people, they remember where they were when this happened, when John F. Kennedy was shot. Well, that was before my time. It's born in 82. So, now it doesn't work that way with all things, right? Like the first man on the moon, the people that watched that live, like, it's a whole different story, but that was planned, right? It was set up to be that be a thing. That morning, we did not know we were going to wake up to witness the things that we witnessed. So, that's where I was, if anybody cares. And people like to say 9/11, never forget. I agree, yeah, don't forget. Also, don't forget the scumbags that perpetrated it. May they rest in hell. Have a good one.